Well, I suppose just can't wait to get started now.
Yeah, no, that's it. Delayed start and a bit of catch up on the fitness side. We've had a good sort of hard 4 weeks, myself, Stephen and Matthew, but it's catch up is what we needed. I mean, I think it was about 6 weeks break this summer, which is the longest I've had since the start of my rugby career. And the body needs it, and it's a definite benefit. I mean, okay, it's a bit of a pain playing catch up, but it's done now, and eager to get started. So.
Because people say, why do these players need a rest? But it's almost like a 12-month season,
so,
wasn't it?
I mean, from the end of the Magners League when we finished, I still had obviously internationals coming up with Scotland, and although there was a break between that, I still had to train because you couldn't go downtime with internationals coming because you obviously lose fitness and then you lose your place. So I had to keep training, and then there's the 2 tests, and then the break. So I mean, we didn't finish till sort of middle of June, really. So you need that break, and especially this year when we've got the extra 2 games or whatever it is, adds up. Well, with the extra 2 teams in, it adds up. It's a long enough season, and you got Heineken Cup on top of that. There's plenty of games, and I say it's a marathon, not a sprint.
There's summer internationals and then a World Cup as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's going to be it's a very long season, this one. So I mean, I'm very grateful for the break, and I think it'll do me good.
Nigel's just mentioned now.
Calling for the cavalry.
But Matthew just, some harsh words said there this week. I mean, has there been that kind of reaction from the weekend?
I think, there's been a few fingers pointed, but justifiably, I think. To turn over a 22-9 lead at half time, it just shows the lack of experience, and it's just a little bit of control of the game. First half we took it to them, and then second half we let them come out at us first 10 minutes of the second half, and instead of, I think if we'd soaked that up and given nothing, I think we'd run out of ideas, because they did come out absolutely flying, the boys say. I mean, I watched some analysis, but because they got into us, obviously they got the tails up, the crowd got behind them, and it's sort of a hard slog from them. But if we'd just taken the energy out of them that first 20-minute period, after 10-20-minute period after the half, I think they would have run out of ideas and steam, and it would have been a different scoreline. But it's tough. I mean, I've been on the receiving end of obviously a decent lead at half time, and then that slowly get whittled away in Scotland. But so I know how frustrating the boys must feel. It's one of those things that's it's difficult. So there's been fingers pointed and issues addressed, and we just had a good boss session just now. So we pay the price for our errors.
But it's not a case of the bubble bursting, Sean. I mean, there was a great feeling of pre-season, it seemed.
Yeah, no, one game's not anything. Okay, it would be nice to start the season with a win, but I say it's a marathon this year. We've got to just win more than not. So if we can get all the home games and steal a few away wins, I mean, that makes a big difference. I think that's the mentality the boys need to have, is turn. So I've said it before, but it's turn this place into a fortress. I mean, loads of teams are good at home, and then steal the away wins, and that makes a difference for them.
So you lost some games last year. That shouldn't really have lost.
Yeah, I mean, we lost a few games that we probably shouldn't have. I mean, I think we had the highest losing bonus of any team last year, and let's make sure that's a winning bonus this year. I mean, the feeling's been good. I mean, okay, jittery start, but first half shows we can do it. We just needed obviously a few cool heads to take control, which obviously didn't have. I mean, I say we had a young backline overall, and just little things like that. It's realising when we've got a good lead, let's make them play ball, let's make them chase it, kick the corners, and an example of someone who did it, like Dan Parks, is great at that. When you build a lead, he'll ping you in, and then you've got to play out of that 22, which is difficult. So it's little things like that. It's again which comes with experience. I mean, I'm not one to say we're a young side. We want to get past that, because the boys have to front up and realise it this season. We've got to realise that potential. So I say one game doesn't make a season. So hopefully we can get wheels back on and take it from there. I mean, we've got not a bad start to the season, and we've got to capitalise on that. We've got games that are, although not necessarily all home, even the away games are the other Welsh regions, so it's not massive distance to travel, and we need to make the most out of those first few games, which will put us in good stead for the rest of the season, hopefully.
Because last season, obviously, won the first game, then I think we lost 4-5 on the trot.
Yeah.
Up against it from the start. Really,
Yeah, I mean, it's always difficult, sort of climbing right out from the bottom, sort of thing. Because we were close to the bottom from the start, and that's got to change. It really does. I mean, all the boys are sick of losing. Nobody likes losing. It's what we have to change, and it's not much. I mean, say turn those. I think we've got 7 or 8 losing bonus points. Turn those into wins, and that's 7 or 8 wins, and that puts us miles further up the table, and that's a big difference.
How much of a motivator, Sean, is the fact that you are now being described by people as the 4th Welsh region? How much of a motivator is to prove that that's not the case this season?
No, it is. It's very frustrating, especially with the history that Scarlets that they have. I mean, in the past they've achieved great things, and I'd love to see the team doing it again. I mean, I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. The potential I see, and the squad and the competition for places we have now, we do have that potential, but it's now about these boys stepping up and cementing their places and fighting for them, and obviously making this team the team it can be. And it is, and we said it a lot last year, the potential's there, but this season is about realising it. It's nothing more than that. I don't want to keep saying, we've got the potential. It's down to, let's do it. No more of this going on about it. Got to make it realised.
Would you agree that realise that in the history of the Scarlets, taking away the fact that it was Treviso and the kind of improvements of Italian rugby in recent years, that was historically one of the lowest points of this organisation?
What, the game is gone? No, I wouldn't say that at all. It's one of those things. I mean, they've beaten Treviso, beat Perpignan last year, and Perpignan are no slouches either way. The first game of the season's okay. It's always nice to start on a win, but again, it doesn't make your season. It's now from here on. We've got, I think, a wake-up call, because we've got to realise that everybody's going on about. Obviously, they're expecting the Italian teams to be weak. I don't think they are.
No, they are.
They've pumped a lot of finances into them. They've got a lot of good players. I think this whole league has got a damn sight stronger from them. Not just them coming in, but if you look at Connacht, who had always traditionally sort of classed as the whipping boys, but they beat the Dragons comfortably. That's a 40-point sort of scoreline. There's no slouches anymore, so I think this league's definitely getting more competitive, and I think that'll help every team in it.
I think NB last week was talking about a real competition on the wing this year.
Yeah,
someone like George North playing display like that.
No, I've got a lot of time for him. He's obviously young talent, but he's.
As a rumour going, are you going to move to centre or something like that?
What's that?
As a rumour going, are you going to move to centre or something like that?
Me? Oh, God, yeah. I've done my bit. Yeah, if I'm needed, I can do a job, but I'm not a centre. No, I mean that's great. I mean that's one thing. Sort of, it's always going to help. It's always nice having a young boy whipping at your heels, keep you on your toes. But yeah, no, that's it is good. I mean, competition for places drives you on. If you're guaranteed your slot every week, then you can get complacent. It's not what you want. It's not a driving factor. It doesn't lead to improvements. So having these guys pushing you on or competing against for your place, it's always going to bring the best out in people. When you don't have that, it's when people rest on the laurels, and I say it's going to be a great thing for Scarlets having that competition. I mean, we've got a good squad, and there's a decent number of boys here all competing for places. It's going to drive us on.
We've talked about the potential thing, Sean, all that kind of stuff that comes with a young team and experience, blah blah blah. What's the one quality that you would like to see the Scarlets show on Saturday against Connacht?
A bit of game management and ball retention. We're very bad at the moment, even in training, of spilling ball and losing ball. And if we can keep the ball, we can play some good rugby. I mean, we scored some good tries the weekend just gone. But then, as I said, in the second half, we let them come at us. And Simon said about in defence, it's not about just soaking up the pressure. It's about they've got the ball, we want it back, and that's the way we've got to go out and take it. When the opposition have it, we've got to do everything we can to get it back. And when we've got it back, keep it, because we are guilty of those times. Even in the warm-up games, we'd get a turnover, and then within 2 passes we turn it back again. And it's little things like that. It's ball retention. They can't score if they haven't got the ball, and that's a big part of it. I think that's the thing we've got to improve most on. No, I think that'll make the difference if we can build phases and take it to them, because when we move teams around, we can make some great breaks, which we have been doing. We've got people who can finish it. It's just about not being soft when they've got the ball, going out and getting it.
Because the way rugby's almost turned on its head over the last 6 months, the way the Tri Nations has gone, it suits almost the Scarlet style of play.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's becoming a much more running game. I mean, if you look at like All Blacks and say the Tri Nations, they've really picked up on it, and it's the way it's been reffed is so much more advantageous to the attacking team. Obviously, that whole tackle assist, not got a release as well. It's not just, even if you're on your feet, if you're helping the guy go down, you got a release, which means you got that extra half second to get back on the ball, which means the attacking team blow you out and then the ball's away. So it's moving a lot more and a lot quicker. So I mean, it's going to make rugby more exciting, because obviously it went through that sort of dull stage sort of a couple of years ago of a lot of kicking, but they've brought it back now, so it's advantage massive with the attacking team. So again, that brings us back to ball retention. You keep the ball, you're attacking, you put a lot more pressure on the defence. And likewise, if you haven't got the ball, you're under more pressure. So it's about going out there and getting it back.